Okay. I'm going to see this, what it looks like. Yep. Do you want to walk in front of it? Just see how you.
Closer to further this way.
Yeah, don't get too far away from the microphone.
No, I'm moving
Oh.
this too.
I'm going to go.
Sound check for YouTube stream of Shelburne Curling Center presentations.
Like once you're sitting, try not to move too much. That's what kind of glitches it up.
So, good evening, curling fans and other athletic supporters. To you live from the Shelburne Curling Center this Saturday evening. Thanks for tuning in, although let's face it, what else did you have to do? Because there's not much going on. Of course, good news from the province this week that beginning next week, things will start to open up a bit more. Unfortunately, still not enough for us to have a togetherness gathering as we would have hoped. So we're going to go ahead with this broadcast to wrap up the year and present the awards. Also want to remind everybody that next Monday, June 7th, we're having a season-ending AGM, and there will be basically 4 items on the agenda of that meeting. One will be to elect the new board, the incoming members for the executive positions and lead chairs and so forth. And we will have at least one election. We have 2 folks have put in their name for the position of secretary. Daniel St. Louis and Sue Beaumont have both put their name forward from that. Whoop, I've lost the camera here. Got some technical difficulties if you're hearing me. Okay, sorry about that. Sandra, can you just angle the screen down a little bit again too, please? Just tilt it forward a bit. There we go. Got a nice shot of Sandra's fingertips there. So as I was saying, we have 2 folks interested in the position of secretary. Most of the positions, we have at least one person having put their name forward. We're still not certain, as far as I know, on the position of men's league chair or the position of registrar. We've heard some tentative interest in that, but I don't think it's been firmed up yet. And of course, we'll be open to nominations from what will be the virtual floor at that meeting. So an email will go out telling you how to access that. It will probably be a Zoom event because we need you to be able to participate in that, to vote for those positions. That will be one item. A second will be to go over the financial statement from this year. And then there'll also be some information about some things that we know already about next year. And I'll talk a little bit about that later in my prepared remarks. So so we see a few folks have logged in here. So again, thanks for joining us. And I'll get started with what I have prepared here. Well, what a year we had. We began last fall with so much uncertainty and even some misgivings about even trying to launch a curling season at all this year. In the end, we had a terrific year. Our membership is up from the last couple of years. The increase in the number of young members is especially optimistic. We know curling across the country is struggling to attract new folks to the sport. This year, many curling clubs across Canada closed early and many more didn't even open at all. And we completely bucked both of those trends. Once again, we have to thank the volunteers who made this all possible. League chairs Jody, Jermaine, Nancy, and Clark were faced with the mid-year pause, and they did a great job of adjusting the schedules to complete the season. Jermaine and the bar staff had to deal with providing table service this year. That was a new wrinkle, and that went really well. Jermaine again managed the books, and we ended the year actually in a solid financial position, despite the lost revenue from somewhat diminished bar sales, from not having any weekend-long bond spiels, and for not having any outside rentals at all. We're actually financially a little further ahead than we were at the same time last year, even with all of those issues to deal with. Sandra kept us organized at the meetings. Craig faithfully contributed to the ideas and planning at meetings, despite the frustration of not being able to run a junior program because of restrictions. And that was partly Curling Nova Scotia and the NSSAF as well. New board members, Kyle and Nick, provided fresh ideas and input at meetings and fulfilled their roles very effectively. Kyle, as you know, was the head of operations, the new position, and in particular that dealt with COVID this year. And he had a whole COVID cleaning team that kept us safe and sanitary all year long. And Nick was on as Bonspiel chair, and he ran 2 one-day Bonspiels, a new way of doing things, a new format, and that were very successful. And they met COVID requirements, and people had a great time at both of those events. And of course, Matthew had his very capable hands, head, and heart in all of these things, leading much of the work as vice president and heading up the ice makers, which was in large part himself, Doug and myself as well, and Greg, who prepped the ice for the seniors league. So all those folks, we thank you for the tremendous hard work this year in these unusual circumstances, giving us a great year. The future of the Shelburne Curling Center looks really encouraging. Looking ahead and building on the momentum of this year, the Curling Center has positioned itself as a sustainable presence in the community, upholding the foundation and reputation established by our long-standing members. And there's a sense of excitement within and around the facility. We've become a bit of a talk of the town. We have 20 brand new Shelburne Curling Center members, and many of them have stepped forward to offer a helping hand when needed. This comes as a pleasure to the long-standing members, and sometimes you might have been able to sense a smile behind their masks as some of the load was being taken off of them. Some ready to hand over the reins, and it's great to see that new involvement. On June 7th, as I said, we'll be holding our AGM to elect board members and the executive. By holding those elections now, it will give the newly elected more time to prepare and plan for the upcoming season. We will be having another AGM to start the season in the fall in late September or early October, but this one will wrap up the 2021 season. At that meeting, at the June 7th meeting, we'll also bring to your attention that we have bid to host a number of Nova Scotia Curling Association events early next season. And there are conversations happening with federal agencies about potential projects for both the short and long term here at the Shelburne Curling Center. As you know, we did significant upgrades to the ice plant last year, and a group of folks have put some ideas forward and discussing with these federal agencies about other things that we can do to upgrade the facility, future-proof us in terms of environmental issues, energy issues, and just the health of the facility. These are just a few of the planning initiatives for the newly elected board to consider. So that's why we want to have them in place now so that they can do some of that work over the summer months. And finally, I ask you to take a moment to embrace what we have here at the Shelburne Curling Center. We offer a welcoming place to socialize and unwind within a rural community deep in the heart of winter, when there's very little else going on sometimes. In a time when social restrictions seem the norm, being at the Curling Center throughout this year offered us all a bit of a bubble of normalcy and a ray of hope for what's to come next year. And indeed, we are looking forward to a bright year next year. So we'll move on with the presentations now. We do have the trophies for this year. Excuse me a second. I'm just going to set this aside. The trophies from this season have been engraved. We don't have the photos in of this year's winning teams yet. We'll see that gets done by the fall of next year. And we'll start with the usual league presentations, the ones that you would all know about anyway because of the emails and Facebook posts that were going out as the leagues were wrapping up. And we'll begin with the Ladies League as we usually do. And our first place Ladies League team this year was a team of Mona Fogud, Juanita Hicks, Lori Rogers, Sherry Irvine Thorburn, and Janet Curtis. So congratulations to those ladies for winning the Ladies League. And finishing in second place in the Ladies League this year was the team of Sue Beaumont, Mary Jane Brackett, Tara Smith, and Jane Guy Delaney. And congratulations also to them. And the ladies chose not to run a playoff schedule this year with because of the pause that we had over Christmas and into the new year. The way when they came back with their league, it wrapped up in such a way that they decided just to conclude the year with some fun nights and didn't have a playoff as such. So there are just those two awards for the ladies league this year. In the mixed league this year, the team that finished in first place, and I think they might have been undefeated this year, the team of Mark Mahaney, Janet Curtis, Peter Deschamps, and Sherry Irvine Thorburn. Congrats to them. And in second place in the regular league schedule in the mixed league, the team of Matthew King, Annie King, Patty Quinn, and Vanessa Hartley. So there we have a couple of those brand new curlers we talked about on a second place team in the mixed league. So well done to them. And the mixed league did run a playoff schedule this year. And perhaps not surprisingly, having had such a strong league season, the winners of the A playoff for the mixed league were again Mark Mahaney, Janet Curtis, Peter Deschamps, and Sherry Irvine Thorburn. And the B division champs for the mixed league, some more brand new curlers and a brand new skip. The team of Nick Brand, Chastity Brand, Keith Nickerson, and Courtney Doan. Congratulations to those folks. And in the men's league, our first place team, a familiar name at the top of the men's league at the Shelburne Curling Center, Skip Greg Hicks, Alan Crosby, Peter Deschamps, and Percy Peters. And wasn't it great to have Percy with us this year, who's been a member in Barrington for many, many years. It was great to have him in the club. And second place in the men's league, we had Nate Findell, Jevin Doan, Corey Huskelson, Shane Nickerson, and Michael Huskelson. Now again, some of our new curlers on that team. Way to rise. And the men's league playoffs, the A division champs finished second in the regular league, but they managed to win it all in the playoffs. The A division champs, Nate Findell, Jevin Doan, Corey Huskelson, Shane Nickerson, and Michael Huskelson. And our B division winners, we had a rare injury during a playoff game this year, but our B division playoff winners were Wayne Blinkhorn, Henry Pedro, Mark Mahaney, and Arnold Townsend. And I haven't done an actual count, but I think that might put Mark at the head of the list for name on the most number of trophies this year, with 2 in the mixed league and 1 in the men's league as well. He certainly is a great curler. So all of our league play went really, really well. Again, thanks to the league chairs for doing that. Thanks to all the curlers for your patience, especially the way we began the year with so much unknown. But it really was a great season, and it was great fun had by all out on the ice. And we'll wrap things up with a presentation of the individual awards that you, the membership, voted on, and we had terrific numbers of ballots cast this year, so that was really good. I'll give a little bit of information too about a couple of the awards for some of the folks who are brand new to the club. So this is the Jack Niven Memorial Award, and it is presented to the most sportsmanlike curler. Jack was one of the early members of the curling center when it was still down at the CFS Shelburne in the 1970s. Jack was a lovely man, and this was presented by his wife Pearl, and it's been awarded since 1985. And this year, the winner of the Jack Niven Award was Mark Mahaney, chosen by you as the most sportsmanlike curler this season. Congratulations, Mark. And definitely our coolest trophy. And this is the Rommel Branscombe Award. Again, for the folks new to the club, Rommel was also a founding member of the club from down in the CFS Shelburne days in the 1970s. And this was presented in memory of him by his family. And we choose a most improved male and a most improved female curler, again voted on by you. And our two winners this year, our most improved female curler was Jessica Feindell, and our most improved male curler was Craig Smith. Congratulations, Jessica and Craig. And our last award voted on by the membership is the Volunteer of the Year Award. This one's a little bit special this year as well. As you know, we had to end last season before things finished. We didn't have any league or playoff winners, nor did we have a chance to select individuals for these awards that are voted on. But I would remind you all that last year, the 1920 season, that Carol and Jerry Bauer did a tremendous amount of work pursuing the grants, and in particular the one that we were successful in, the Recreation Facility Development Grant through the province, Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage. And that allowed us to complete the much necessary repairs on the ice plant. Having been somewhat involved with that, I know the tremendous amount of work that Carol and Jerry put in on that, both developing the applications for the grants, communication with the folks in the various agencies, going to municipal and town council meetings to secure funding that allowed us to have our portion of the funds to pursue those grants. So we decided we would have a 2019-2020 Volunteer of the Year Award. It's the only one that is awarded to last year, and we've chosen Carol Bauer and Jerry Bauer as the recipients of that. And I think possibly the first time, we also have two winners for this year for the 2020-2021 season. I counted the ballots for all the individual awards, and every vote except for one for the Volunteer of the Year was for one of these two individuals. And they were within a couple of votes of each other when they were all counted. And given that, I made the decision to go ahead and award this to both people. Since, as I said, literally everyone was cast for one or the other, and it was nearly a dead heat. And those of you who voted them will not be surprised to know that our Volunteers of the Year for this season were Jermaine Osborne and Matthew King. As you all know, they both do a tremendous amount of work. Jermaine holding several positions on the executive, Matthew is vice president and head of the ice making team, and actually took over a lot more than just the vice presidential duties this year. So congratulations to both of you, and thanks for all of your work. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. If you're watching this on an archived, thanks for doing that as well. And a reminder to everybody to check your emails in this next week, and you should get an email with information about logging into that June 7th general meeting. So that's a Monday evening. It'll be at 7 p.m. again, probably on Zoom, because that will be our best bet to give you an opportunity to vote. And we've got to do a bit of work to figure out how that's going to work, particularly if we have 60, 70, 80 people tuning into that. We'll have to make that work. But we hope we can, because we'll be dealing with those four matters that I talked about at the beginning of tonight's broadcast. So thanks, folks. Scaled down, and you only had me to look at, unfortunately, but I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you in a little over a week to completely wrap up the 2020-21 curling season in Shelburne Curling Center. Thanks, folks. Good night.